Spirit Week continues. Oh, it's so spooky. No, it's not that kind of Spirit Week. It's the fun kind of Spirit Week. And we continue it today with our mystery guest on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Today, as at some point during this first segment of the show, he will try to figure out exactly who the mystery guest is. It's a surprise to him and, of course, a surprise to you as we welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Me, John Radigan. Jeff Wilson's here. Daughter Molly is here today. She is not our mystery guest.
Okay, good.
But
I brought her.
Yeah, I was going to say,
a surprise.
That wouldn't have been much of a surprise.
Yeah.
However, it's great to have you here, Molly. We appreciate you. Kat in the seat, the queen over there, and I already see people in the chat. We like you for being here. We're all going to like the guest. I promise you that, and we will get to that, start that process right at the end of this first segment. But we start the show, Jeff, with the news that happened again. Once again, maybe we got to move our show later. Right after we left yesterday, we get the news that Josh Smith has been named as the American League Player of the Week. And I guess and I saw somebody tweet, maybe it was you, he didn't even lead his own team in categories, most of the categories.
Yeah, it wasn't me, but I was a little surprised.
I wasn't expecting him to be in that.
Because it's not like he hit. Usually these guys hit like 4 or 5 home runs and drive in, 12 runs. And he didn't do those things. He only had 4 RBI and 2 homers, but he did bat .423, scored 9 runs, slugged .769 and had a .500 on base percentage. He led the AL in runs and total bases with 20. Second in the majors, extra base hits 5. So, yeah, you add up all the numbers, and it's pretty good. And he did, kind of spark the offense.
He really did, and the offense is surging upward. More on Josh and the offense and this series against the Royals, but we remind you about our Spirit Week festivities. So today is Mystery Guest Day. Tomorrow is Musical Chairs Day, and Thursday is the day that we reach out to big brothers and big sisters. It's Big Brothers and Big Sisters Day, and we just want to remind you, you can be a part of this incredible group. You can certainly help by donating to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, but it's not necessarily just a monetary donation. Sometimes the bigger impact you can make would be by joining as a big brother or a big sister and helping one of these young people who need that assistance, who need that in their lives. It would be awesome for you to do it. So yesterday, though, we did get more donations than any of the other All-City Network cities in the family. So we're proud of that, and we want to keep that going. So donate, but also don't hesitate to become a big brother or a big sister. That is how our Spirit Week continues, and it's nice that actually there is. And I didn't mention this last week on the show. A week ago Monday, I'm sitting there going, all right, let me turn the game on, turn it on DirecTV, and it shows a slate, the game, you don't get the pregame in your area. I'm like, come on, I do too. Okay, whatever. Waiting for the game. That's last Monday. And no game came on. I'm like, man, I got to call DirecTV. I got to get this thing all figured out again. I've already been on the phone with them. We had done a whole segment that day on the show about what to do on an off day in Minnesota. And yet, there's my brain reacting that way. Now, yesterday, I did not do that. I remembered.
Good.
There was no game yesterday. That said, man, it seems like it's been a long time since the Rangers have played. Maybe it's because they've been playing better, Jeff.
Yeah, and it was a long game. Saturday, especially, which I had the good fortune of leaving early, and then Sunday was a long game, and it just seemed like yesterday was a long day for me personally.
Well, you had 3 baseball games to attend.
We had a lot to do. Only 2 games, as it turned
Oh,
out, because
okay, only 2.
They won the first afternoon game. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, but it was just a long day, and so yeah, you're right. It does feel like they've been a while since they played.
Yeah, they play tonight, and it's one of those situations that the strength of this team, of course, all season long has been the pitching staff, and this is one thing we have not seen at all this year, Jeff. Is when we look at the pitching matchup, the rotation for the 3 games of this series, there are 2 TBDs for the Rangers. Jack Leiter goes tonight. They're just not sure which direction, which way they're going to go with the other 2 right now, healthy bodies after that, because obviously Kamar Rocker is not eligible in this series.
Yeah, Patrick Corbin is for sure pitching one of the games.
Right.
So we know that much. We just don't know if it's tomorrow or the day game Thursday. DeGrom pitched Saturday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He could pitch Thursday if they wanted to do that. He's going to have to pitch on normal rest at some point in this next slate of games.
Yeah,
here.
Don't they have 9 in a row right now?
Yes. And
yeah.
So I think he's going to have to pitch on 5 days rest at some point. I don't think they want to do a bullpen game, just because it is 9 in a row. And I think that, Dane Dunning was still here on Sunday. I don't know if he's been dispatched back to Round Rock or not. But, they could do an opener with Dunning getting the bulk, something like that.
Yeah.
But we're just not sure. Just not sure which way it's going to go.
Saw a tweet by our co-worker, our partner on the show, Abby, who talked about the Rangers' offensive ranks in the month of June. And in the big offensive categories, they're 3rd, 7th, 3rd, 7th. In prior to June, they were 30th, 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 and 29th. So this is what we call a turnaround, Jeff. And I hope, as you do, that the turnaround offensively continues.
Yeah, that's we've been talking about things have been better, even when they've had these games, like when they've scored 1 run or no runs, like the Friday game at Washington not that long ago. But overall, it's been more consistent. There have been more home runs. There have been more good things, more guys getting hot, stuff like that. So the offense has turned around. It's nice to see stats like that to kind of back up the eye test. So yeah, I think they are coming around. We thought it started with. We think it starts with Marcus Semien, Josh Smith. Our player of the week. He got hot again. Corey Seager is back, walking like a madman, and starting to hit the ball well, find his timing. So there are a lot of guys who are in good shape now, much better shape than they were at the end of May. And as a result, the Rangers are, winners of 4 in a row, 7 of 8, back to 500. So, yes, I think we can say now for half a month, this offense has been very, very good.
Absolutely. And as somebody already mentioned in the chat, and by the way, we love all the guesses for the various who the guest might be. Keep them coming. But already in the chat, somebody has mentioned that the Astros and the Mariners both lost last night. So it's 2 things about that. One, it's nice that we're back to watching that sort of thing again, right,
Yeah.
Jeff? There for a while, it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Now, it's time to keep watching that and hoping that the Rangers can keep doing their part and getting closer and closer to those 2 teams in front of them, which amazingly aren't that far ahead of them.
Right. The Astros are 4.5 games or 5 games up, which is nothing.
No.
It's really, you can chew that up here pretty quickly. The Mariners had been playing not great baseball. They actually have a negative 4-run differential now. So again, it's wide open. It's there for the Rangers to take. And as we talked about yesterday, the schedule is certainly going to lend itself to some friendlier competition. Some not any Yankees and Dodgers here. It's looking like Royals, who've lost 6 straight and below 500. Pirates, Orioles, Mariners, Orioles.
Yeah. I mean,
and you're just coming off a sweep of the White Sox. So that's
and the
6
Mariners,
straight
out of that
series.
whole group, the Mariners are the only one over 500.
Yeah.
And right now, I'd say they're barely, right? I mean,
One game.
Yeah, they're clinging to 500. So, and they haven't been playing well of late. So, anyway, and the Rangers get them at home. Anyway, so there's, that's all good, right? Those are nice things to note. That the Rangers still have to go out and do this thing on the field, and that process begins tonight with Leiter against Lugo.
Yeah, Lugo, I think he finished second in the Cy Young last year. Kind of a breakout year for him, as the Royals had a nice season, but he's been hurt this season. Now he's still, the numbers still look really shiny, and really the whole rotation that the Royals are planning to throw at the Rangers, with Bubic going tomorrow, and then Michael Wacha on Thursday. All guys who are in the midst of pretty nice seasons, especially Bubic, kind of the best that he's ever thrown. He's a left-hander, so we know what that does to the Rangers. It's going to be a tough series. I don't think a lot of runs are going to be scored by either team, but the Rangers, as Bruce Bochy said the other night, it's the games when you're scoring 2 or 3 runs. You got to figure out how to win those, and the Rangers should know by now, because they've won a lot of close games and lost a lot of close games.
Yeah.
So they should be old pros at these things.
Hey, I think I saw they're 11-13 now in one-run games. That's 24 one-run games already out of 72.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that's a big number. All right, so we're going to play a little game with Jeff. And by the way, the guesses of Robinson Cano and Jay Buhner make me laugh, because, why would we get people who never played for the Rangers? But you never knew who it might have been, and I think Jeff would have really had trouble guessing them. But he's going to ask me some questions to see if he can figure out who this guest might be. It's sort of like 20 questions. I'll give him some clues if we're getting close to ad time. If he hasn't gotten it, go ahead, Jeff. Yes or no questions.
Is this a current Rangers player?
No.
Former Rangers player?
No.
Broadcaster?
No.
Any affiliation with the Rangers at all?
Yes.
Okay. Is it somebody I used to work with?
Yes. I have to answer honestly.
Okay. I worked with him did I work with him at the Star-Telegram?
Yes.
Anthony Andro?
No.
Gil Everton?
No.
Randy Galloway?
No.
Jim Reeves?
Maybe you didn't work with him at the Star-Telegram.
Is it TR?
It's TR.
Oh, all right.
It's TR Sullivan.
I did work with him at the Star-Telegram.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't
he
guess
left.
him. So
I was getting there.
Oh, you were. I'm so sorry.
But I forgot.
I thought maybe
we
he had
never
gone,
worked as beat writers before.
Okay, I thought maybe he had gone to MLB about the time you got the beat. I couldn't remember
it was a few years
when he
before.
made that transition. But the reality is, Jeff's mentioned TR, as you all know, on the show a million times. TR is something of a mentor to Jeff as a beat writer, and a guy who Jeff told me many moons ago. I said, man, we should get TR on. He's got all these great stories. And Jeff said, he won't come on. He doesn't like to do this kind of thing. To TR's great credit, he is coming on, because I told him how much Jeff wanted to have him on the program. So our guest, our mystery guest today is TR Sullivan, who, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, wrote from 79 until 2022 for the Rangers?
No, 89.
89, okay.
89, yes.
Still a long time.
Yes. 32 years, longest run by a Rangers beat writer.
My clues for you were going to be, this guy loves basketball. And then you might not know that, and I'd say this guy loves college basketball.
I would have gotten it.
And this guy loves University of San Francisco college basketball.
Yeah.
One year at spring training, we were watching a University of San Francisco, maybe tournament game, might have been NCAA, West Coast Conference games.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, at 6-4, right? I don't know if San Francisco is up or down 6-4. TR's grabbing the back of the chairs in the bar and, oh, come on. Wow, this guy loves him some basketball. So anyway, he's a fun guest. He's a great guest. He knows so much about this team and so much about covering it. And we'll talk to TR Sullivan next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, I forgot. What are we doing first here? Is it you
I
or
was
me?
so excited to learn the surprise guest. Game time, John.
Oh, no, it's you. I'm doing
it's me.
Mando.
Oh well, you're the pro at both.
Yeah.
Game time, our favorite secondary market ticket place. Download the app, use the code DLS, you get $20 off your first purchase. Game time, what makes them so great? A couple things. When you find the seat that you want for whether it's Rangers, Stars, Cowboys, Mavs, Wings, whatever, concerts, shows, you'll get a view of your seat and what your view is from your seat. And then the pricing, it's the all-in price. So there are no hidden fees on the back end. And then once you sign up, you become friends with Nicole, who keeps you up to date on events. And it's just a nice, handy app. And again, probably the best one out there if you don't like hidden fees. So download the app, DLLS, $20 off your first purchase.
Okay, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that's in a crowded elevator or, say, a gathering of media standing around Bruce Bochy that smells. Because, of course, the people around you don't know exactly from whence you've smelled, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it from your pits? Is it from your private areas, the grundle? All these different areas are possibilities. There's a simple solution to eliminating all of these smells, guys. Mando. All you got to do is get the Mando products. Utilize them on a daily basis. They even last up to 72 hours. I use them all the time, though. I use them every day just to be safe, and you should too. $5 off a starter pack of Mando if you simply use the code DLLS, and then you will confidently walk into an elevator or into a group setting of media gathered for Bruce Bochy confidently. Mando. All right, it is time to welcome our guest, the great T.R. Sullivan, joining us now from, I'm sure, his home in Plano. T.R., are you there? Can you hear us?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
We can only see half your face, though.
Yeah, pull your screen down a little bit, T.R. We can't see your mouth. There you go. That's better. That's better. Yeah, lean the other way. Yeah, there you go.
Attaboy.
You look great. TR, were you able to hear the chat we were having about you prior to you coming on?
Yes, I heard you say I started in 1979. Thanks, John. That's what I really needed.
Yeah, so made you feel old. Made you feel old, didn't it? I guess it's Nate Dell.
Number two.
Nate Dell started in 89.
79.
And number two, I didn't start pounding the chair until the second half. In the first half, I just banged the ring on the bar.
Okay,
there's some good foot stomping too.
Yeah, some foot stomping, and the chairs.
The foot stomping was about mid-game. It started out with a banging of the ring, then it got to the foot stomping, and then we started banging the chair.
That's fantastic. He remembers it specifically.
Well, and he took me and Anthony to the USF campus. We walked through the gym and saw where the magic happens, where the great Bill Russell and Casey Jones played and brought home national titles. And so yeah, we're Anthony and I are we've adopted USF.
Yeah.
Anthony's really follows them pretty good.
Oh, that's good. You've had your influence on these guys. TR, do you remember when Jeff made the transition over from being a guy on the desk and doing some editing or whatever he was doing over there and joined you out in the field and became a beat writer?
Well, he had already done a stint at TCU, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd done a TCU stint.
And he was a good reporter. We knew he was going to be a good reporter. And what impressed me the most when he got on the beat, and this is a big thing when people ask me about it, what makes a good beat writer, and I was good at it earlier in my career, and as I got older, I didn't kind of lost the touch a little bit but Jeff really bounced around the clubhouse really good. He really got to know the players well. He really developed a good rapport in the clubhouse, and that was the second thing that impressed me. And then it takes you a few years to cover baseball. John, I'm sure same thing with broadcasting. You just don't go in there and pick it up right away. You got to learn all the rules, the waiver deadlines and all that. You got to know where to go in each city and who to talk to. And it took Jeff a little time. It took me a time. I had Jim Reeves to kind of guide me the way I kind of guided Jeff. But early, after a year or two, Jeff was pretty much, um, he was a guy. He knew what he was doing. He came in with excellent credentials. It was not like some other people, who thrived, some who didn't thrive, but who came in cold with no real good beat experience like Jeff did.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
That's very nice. And our chat is saying you are the man, the myth, and the legend, TR. And I must admit I agree. I mean, I didn't realize that you and I kind of arrived on the scene at a similar time. But I got here in 1990 and covered the Rangers for a few years just as a reporter from TV, and then got on the beat, if you will, when I got on the broadcast in the middle 90s. But at that point, you seemed like a veteran, maybe even a grizzled veteran. So I think you wore the beat well, and then you experienced it for a long time. Did you feel bitter at all, TR, that you were not still on the beat in 2023?
No way. I was very happy for him, but no, because really, John, my job was to cover the news, to report the news. And people say, "Well, do you remember that game last year where they won 8-5 and they rallied with 5?" And no, I don't. I remember covering the team. I remember the stories we broke. I remember the stories I broke. I remember the stories I got beat on. I remember the story. I still know. 20 years later, whatever, that Jeff was the one who broke the story that Neftali Felice was going to have Tommy John surgery. I mean, I don't know. That was what, 2012 or 13, something like
12,
that.
Yeah.
I can't even remember one game in 2012 other than I think that was the year Josh Hamilton hit 4 home runs. But I remember stories and how we worked the beat and how we worked the big stories and stuff like that. And that was my job. And I remember, 2011 World Series was fantastic. To me, it was the apex of MLB.com. We did such a great job. I'm so proud of that. 23, I'm happy for him. I enjoyed it, but Jeff knows I didn't know anybody on that team. The only 2 guys who went into the clubhouse who knew me were Jonathan Hernandez and Jose Leclerc. I mean, obviously we were not tight buddies, but there's Kyle Seager. I've never met Kyle Seager. Marcus Semien. I've never been for. I didn't know Bruce Bochy. So one thing. I was a military brat, and I moved around the country, and I always rooted for the home team. So I grew up a Red Sox fan, and then I lived in Alabama, and I followed the Atlanta Braves, and of course I'm from San Francisco, followed the Giants and the A's. But when I moved to Texas, I was focused on the Rangers. So once I retired, I was happy for them, but no bitterness at all.
Well, that's good. Yeah. But at the time I was doing Rangers Today. Which started in 21, and one of the first people to help me out was TR with what he called TR's memoirs, and we've transferred some of them over to the DLS site. But I think, and I don't know if this is public information, but there might be something coming out about those.
We're working on a book that we're hoping to come out this spring. A lot of things have been lined up, and it's a long process, but I'm hopeful in spring that we're going to be able to announce something officially, but it looks like we will have that in the bookstores.
Yeah, so that'll be great. It's great stuff, and I don't know. I'm glad you retired when you did, and, but you couldn't stay retired. I think you still had some things you wanted to tell, and occasionally you get to work for John Blake and the program and stuff like that. So you're keeping your feet wet a little, I guess.
Well, I appreciated you gave me the forum, because there were some things I have a lot of institutional knowledge. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, I was there for 32 years, and there was stuff I just wanted on the record in some kind of forum where hardcore Ranger fans who were interested could read about it. I don't know what our readership was. I don't know if the book comes out, how many we're going to sell, but at least I got it out there. I had a lot to say, and I've said it, and I really don't have anything. We've kind of stopped it because I just don't have anything more to say. But other than a few stories here and there. But I really appreciate you giving me that forum.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of the Dave Hostetler story. Just a lot of people like that one, and just kind of the random ones that you threw in there. whether you were on the beat at the time or not. The history of the Rangers, how they got to Arlington. That was a great one. And then you wrote a 6-parter on John Daniels. 6 parts.
Yeah.
Wow.
TR, I didn't give him a length. He just went.
Yeah, that was a great thing about Jeff. I said, Jeff, this is gonna be a long one. He says, don't worry about it. I said, this could be a 2-parter. Don't worry about it. Jeff, I'm up to 3 parts. He said, don't worry about it. I mean, Jeff was the best editor I ever had.
Well, all right. So let's do this. Let's hear that. Can you tell us the Hostetler story?
Oh, I just repeated it. I just did the story of how Dave Hostetler came up in 1982, and he came out of nowhere. He'd come over in the Al Oliver trade. They traded Al Oliver to the Expos for Larry Parrish and Dave Hostetler. And Parrish got off to a horrible start when he came here in 82. I mean, he was like hitting 173 or something like that. And it was a buff. Al Oliver was Al Oliver hitting his way in Montreal. So suddenly in June, Hostetler comes up out of Denver and just starts hitting home runs. I mean, like Buddy Bell told me, it was the first time any player really got the whole Metroplex excited about baseball. And he got on a run. He hit about 11, 12, 13 home runs in the middle of the summer. Of course, Hostetler translates into Haas, which translates into Bonanza. And so your predecessors on Channel 5 and the others started playing the Bonanza theme song whenever Hostetler hit a home run. And it was just wild. I mean, for a whole month, about 2 or 3 months, he was just fantastic. And then he just died. I mean, next year, he never repeated it. He was the ultimate flash in the pan. He's a great guy, still lives in Arlington, still goes to Ranger events. I talked to him for a few hours. He was great, no bitterness, no regrets, and enjoying life, has a nice house, beautiful house. And, it's an incredible story. There's still some legends in the range. Pete Incaviglia we did that story. I mean, that guy, you were here, John, for Incaviglia at the end, I guess. But when he came up that first year and goes to spring training, hits that ball through the fence in the outfield. John Blake was like all over that. He running tours out there. Incaviglia hit that line drive to left field. Well, that left field was rotted wood, and it kind of just chipped off the top of it. But no, that was just a few years after Roy Hobbs and all that. So John Blake had his Roy Hobbs in the natural, and that was an amazing story too. So. Even up to before they finally got to the World Series, they had a lot of great moments, a lot of bad moments. But I mean, it was just, even before me, through me, and now after me, this whole franchise has been one wild ride.
Well, and you were there to cover things like Nolan Ryan's accomplishments when he was here, and the vast majority, other than when he wasn't here, but of Pudge Rodriguez's career. So there's 2 Hall of Famers, a lot of Adrian Bell.
I covered Pudge Rodriguez from the time he was in the minor leagues to the time he went into the Hall of Fame. Every step. Well, of course, he went to other teams. Yeah, I was there all the way, witnessed Pudge Rodriguez from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, is that? I mean, like, how special is it to follow a young man from a teenager to the Hall of Fame?
I mean, he goes to Chicago. He got called up to Chicago. I think somebody got hurt. It might have been Gino Petralli. I can't remember who. He comes up to Chicago. He gets a base hit and throws out 2 base runners. Comes to the clubhouse, and his teammates have taken all his clothes away. So now he has to talk to the press, totally nude. And we were laughing about that. And I remember talking about that in Cooperstown when he went into the Hall of Fame. Pudge was Pudge. I mean, he had one thing about Pudge. He was an incredible talent. With that great arm, accurate arm. But you remember, John, you were a broadcaster. He'd get hit with a foul ball, and he'd go diving into the dirt, and his face would be digging into the dirt, and he'd be rocking back and forth, and we're all like going, "Oh my God, he's going on the disabled list for 8 weeks." And the trainer comes out, and they're patting him and everything like that. The next thing you know, he's back in there, and it throws out the next runner trying to steal. He was so much fun. He was really a lot of fun to cover. It was special to watch. One of the top 5 catchers in baseball history, and we were there. You were there. We were all there, witnessing this great player.
Yep, every step of the way. Really cool. Great memories. We want to pick your brain more about memories. We'll also ask you about what your thoughts are on this current team. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
LinkedIn.
And it's time to talk about our favorite job app. That would be LinkedIn Jobs. You need to avail yourself to this great app, which is there for you. It is there for you to find the best applicant for any given job. You've got to go to LinkedIn Jobs in order to get that best person. You need it. We all need it. I've got a small business. I'm always looking for the right people, and so are you. You post your job for free, or you pay a little extra, and that job gets promoted. Promoted jobs do get 3 times as many qualified applicants. And look, they all get qualified applicants, but those promoted jobs for a small fee get 3 times as many. So we really expect and encourage you to go to LinkedIn.com and post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/Rangers. That's LinkedIn.com/Rangers to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
We've been talking about the baseball tournament that my son is playing in, and he had a game bright and early again this morning. They got beat pretty good, and so when we handed him off to one of his teammates so that Molly and I could come to the studio and do the show, gave him his baseball bag, and we gave him a cooler.
Oh, good.
But it wasn't a Rugged Road
cooler.
Oh,
Man.
I can tell you that by the weight and the bulk, and we really, really, today it hit home. It's like, this is it. It's Rugged Road time. And Jenny has already looked, so I think Rugged Road will soon be dropped off at our house. They're just these great coolers that are super durable and lightweight. They float. They're your companion if you're an outdoorsman or a parent with a lot of kids playing sports. Fill them up, keep everything cold for up to 7 days. And if you go to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code DLLS, you will get 10% off your order. Rugged Road.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. It's Mystery Guest Day. The mystery has been figured out, and Jeff got it on a few questions. I'm glad. I mean, I didn't know how good Jeff was at 20 questions. He's a smart guy, so I thought he might get it like that.
Yeah,
but
I
was proud. It took a little longer than I thought.
And I did work with TR, but not in a writing capacity. I was always on the copy desk when he was working the beat for us.
Okay,
Hold on a second here. We're talking about he brought up family, so I get to bring up family too. So TCU kid Zach Coyer, he's my great nephew. His father is my nephew. Mother's a wonderful lady too. My niece. He was 11th round pick by the Kansas City Royals last year from out of TCU. He's pitching at high Class A Quad Cities, winning a save last week, doing great. Zach Coyer, TCU, doing a nice job for the Royals. Okay. Just want to throw that in there.
He had a great one season at TCU. He was really a big part of their team that year.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he just transfer in late? Is that what happened, or was he just had one good year?
He came from McLennan.
Okay.
He spent 2 years in McLennan. He was from Fort Worth Nolan High School. He wasn't a big recruit out in Fort Worth Nolan, but he went to McLennan. He's gained a lot of bulk, a lot of velocities, up to 94, 95. Great breaking ball, great feel for pitching. Anyway. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I'm a Nolan guy. My wife used to work there. My daughter went there. They're a football school, but obviously it worked out well for him in baseball too. So
his brother played football there. His name was Ben. He's older brother. He played Nolan, and he went to play college football at Carnegie Mellon.
Good for him. Yeah, they won when my daughter was there. They won at least 2 state championships with Joe Prudhomme as their head coach.
Oh yeah, Joe Prudhomme.
Yeah, they had a really good thing going over there. So anyway, T.R. Sullivan is the guest. You knew him from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram and from MLB.com for all those years. There's been some disputing in the chat. T.R., what year was your last on the beat? What year did you officially retire?
2020. Long story short, I was working for MLB.com. We opened the season. We played in the new ballpark, but there were no fans there. MLB.com. Everybody lost a lot of money, and they gave us the option of early retirement. I wasn't planning on taking it. My original plan was to work through the 2024 season. Then I was going to retire, but they offered me a great early retirement package. They offered a lot of us, and we all took it. None of us were expected to take it, but it was very generous. So I retired after the 20 season.
And then Kennedy stepped in fresh out of LSU, and she's now finding her own. She has. I mean, this is her
Great
fifth
job.
season.
Yeah.
Really proud of Kennedy. I hope people are reading her because she's really worked hard at being good at that job, and she's excellent.
Did she overlap with you for one season or no?
No, I'd never met her until they hired her.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Wow.
Yeah, so.
Okay. So she's been figuring it out on her own. She
Yeah.
didn't have the great TR like you and Anthony did.
Well,
Because even when TR was working for MLB.com, he was helping you guys.
He would help the Star Telegram guys. Yeah, because TR is loyal to maybe to a fault sometimes, but loyalty is a big deal with TR. If you're his friend, then your friend. He's loyal to you for life.
So TR, you said that you mentioned Pudge and the joy, and I agree with you 100%. That I remember when he signed with the Tigers, and my family in Detroit called and said, oh my gosh, we got Pudge. What do you think? And I said, oh wow, my favorite player on my favorite team, right? So, and that's the team I grew up with. That was the team I've always rooted for, the Tigers, and to have Pudge on there was really fun. And of course, his first year, he took them or helped take them to a World Series. They lost to the Cardinals. God, I hate the Cardinals. But anyway, the other than Pudge, so what stands out? Like, you've got that as a player that you covered. Game. What's the game you remember most or enjoyed covering the most?
The one moment I'm never going to forget is Benji Molina's triple for the. That was a big one. You remember Nolan Ryan's 2 no-hitters, but I remember covering the World Series with Jim Reeves. I remember, I'll tell you this, 2001 Game 4 in New York. That was the one where Derek Jeter hit the home run after midnight, 10th inning, extra innings. The Rangers were trying to find a general manager. They had fired Doug Melvin, and we're down to John Hart and Dave Dombrowski. And the game is like in the 8th inning, and the crowd at full capacity at Yankee Stadium. And I'm sitting there on the phone in the 7th, 8th inning trying to call sources to see if the Rangers made a decision on who the general manager was. And we found out that it was John Hart. So I'm sitting there writing a story that John Hart's going to be the next general manager while 50,000 Yankee fans are rocking. That's in the old Yankee Stadium. You remember the old Yankee Stadium? Both of you were there, right? You remember how that thing could rock. In the World Series, that thing would just shake. And that stadium is shaking. I'm trying to file a news story and keep up with this game. And it's after midnight. And that, to me, was one of the that was a night I'll never forget, having to write a news story and cover one of the most historic baseball games ever, all at the same time.
Yeah, one of the first stories that TR wrote for my website, it might have been the first, was the '89 World Series, the earthquake. There, and because TR was there, and of course his a lot of his heart and soul is in San Francisco, and so I'm sure you'll never forget that one.
Oh no, because we done an off day, and I was kind of hungover after celebrating the off day, and I'm on the field before the game, and I'm like starting to feel a little woozy. I'm in this group talking to Don Fear about they had a labor dispute coming up next year. So we're sitting there talking to Don Fear, and I'm like going, oh my God, I'm going to end up losing it here on the field and embarrassing myself in front of the whole World Series. And that's all anybody will ever remember this night is me throwing up on the field. So I went upstairs, got something to eat, and I was fine. So Jim Reeves and I were sitting in the upper deck, and this was Game 3. The A's had won Game 1 and Game 2 in Oakland. And Will Clark, the first baseman, we all remember Will. Will said, well, wait till we get to Candlestick Park. And our fans are going to be really behind us and blah, blah, blah. So we're sitting there. The game's about ready to start in about 5-7 minutes. And all of a sudden, I hear this roar. And I'm going, holy shit. Excuse me. Holy
That's
cow.
Okay.
You're all right. We're on cable or something. Yeah.
These fans are really into this. These fans are then I start to feel a rumble and more of a rumble. And I'm going, oh, it's an earthquake. And then the next thing you know, and I've been in five earthquakes in San Francisco during my 4 years there. And, there were rumbles, and sometimes you get a little bit of a shaking. But this, I saw a stadium, Candlestick Park, with 60,000 people in there, shaking violently left and right, just going back and forth. And it was so violent. It scared the crap out of me. It scared the crap out of all of us. And finally, it finally settled down. And I'm like, okay, we're okay. The earthquake's going to, the game's going to start. We'll be fine. Then I look out in center field, and there's a long column of black smoke going straight up, way beyond center field. And that was where that, whatchamacallit, the freeway collapsed and,
Yeah.
and killed those people. That was where most of the people who died in the earthquake
Yep.
died.
Yep.
And we were sitting there. Revo had Jim Reeves had one of those old little radio TVs. You guys remember that battery operated TV that you watch? So he's sitting there watching the TV, and suddenly he goes, the Bay Bridge has collapsed. The
Wow.
Bay Bridge has collapsed. He said that. And of course, I've been, like all of us who've been out there, I've been across that bridge 100 times.
Right.
And when you say the Bay Bridge has collapsed, you think the whole thing is just collapsed down into the bay, which of course it didn't. It was just one section of it. But
Still,
I'll never forget
one that fell on top of the other one of the double decker. Yeah. So,
and only one person died from that, fortunately. Yeah, and just working all night, having to cover that thing and covering it the next day. And the next day was weird because we went out to the Marina District, which is a nice neighborhood of San Francisco, and it was a beautiful day, sunshiny day, and we were all a couple of reporters of mine, friend from Chicago, Kerry Muscat, we were going around looking over the damage and talking to people, and it was like a carnival out there. There were people out there and dressed up like it was a sunny afternoon walk in Golden Gate Park, and it was surreal. And yeah,
very, very strange. Hey, what do you think about this year's team, TR? Have you looked at him much?
Well, I got some mixed feelings about it. And I don't want to hear this. This is the best pitching staff they've ever had. Okay, enough. Stop, please stop. He's a great pitcher. Jacob deGrom's a great pitcher. Hopefully, Tyler's going to be okay. We all know Evaldi is done well here in Texas, and I'll tell you this. They got to get Leiter and Rocker. The whole future's on Leiter and Rocker. These guys have got to come through. These are 1 and 2 draft choices. These guys have got to hit. That's all there is to it. You can talk about deGrom. You can talk about Evaldi. You can talk about anybody you want on that staff. But to me, watching the Rangers this year, to me, was all about watching how far Leiter and Rocker come. And they got to come because you can't let these two great draft picks just implode on you like they did with David Clyde and Tommy Boggs. Back in the 70s, they had David Clyde #1 and Tommy Boggs second overall pick. That was 73 and 74. Those guys should have carried that team through the 70s when they had Al Oliver and Jim Sundberg and Buddy Bell and Toby Hare and all those guys. They should have had two guys, David Clyde and Tommy Boggs, leading that staff. Go back into the 80s. Bobby Witt, Kevin Brown, Brian Bohannon. Those guys should have carried that franchise into the 90s. They were pretty good. But they weren't as good as they had hoped. We all remember the DVDs, Thomas Diamond, Edison Volquez, and John Danks. They weren't top picks like those other guys were. But still, the Rangers put a lot of stock into that. And it didn't happen. We know what happened. The big tragedy about the 2011 Rangers World Series team was how fast that starting rotation disintegrated. So when you look at this team, I know everybody says, well, is Garcia going to hit? What's going to happen with Simeon? Is Seager going to stay healthy? Now, obviously, you want Langford and Young and Heim to come through. Those guys are huge parts of those teams. Those guys are also high draft picks. No doubt about it. But to me, this whole year it's got to be about Leiter and Rocker, and can these two guys match up or live up to being number 1 overall and number 2 overall pick.
Who was the better pitching rotation in Rangers history than this one, or were there more than one?
Well, here's the one thing. These guys. Here's the one thing, and I don't want to knock any of these pitchers, but I'm going to knock them. They're going 5 or 6 innings, okay? You can say, well, these guys are great. Well, that's good, but they're only going 5 or 6 innings. You go back to, the 96 team when they had Ken Hill, they had John Burkett, they had Bobby Witt, they had Roger Pavlik, they had Darren Oliver. Those guys were going 7 or 8 innings. You go back to the 70s when you talk about Hall of Famers. the 1970-17 team. I mean, how many Hall of Famers do we have on that team? Gaylord Perry and Burt Blyleven. You know, we had one with Ferguson Jenkins in there. Those 70s rotations, those guys are Hall of Famers, pitching complete games and shutouts and stuff like that. And you know, to say these guys, you know, DeGrom is fantastic. I love watching him pitch. Who doesn't? Evaldi has been fabulous for the Rangers, but you're talking about guys going 5, 6, maybe 7 innings. You know, this is an excellent staff, but you know, no.
Well, I know you're a big fan of the 11 staff too. The 11 rotation. They never went on the injured list.
I know that was great. I mean, Derek Holland, C.J. Wilson, Colby Lewis,
Ogando, and
Alexi Ogando,
Matt Harrison.
I mean, we could sit here for 15 minutes, and it's a great story how that rotation disintegrated too fast. I mean, The next year, Colby Lewis went down with that. He was pitching great in June. We're talking about him going for the All-Star game. Came down with that flexor elbow injury, and he was never the same again.
If he doesn't get hurt, they win the division. It's that simple.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't have to look at Ryan Dempster in a Rangers uniform. and then I love John Daniels, but the biggest mistake he ever made was flip-flopping Alexi Ogando and Natali Felice. That's the biggest mistake he ever made. So Ogando goes to the bullpen. It doesn't work out. Felice blows out his elbow. Derek Holland and Matt Harrison, we all know what happened with them. Harrison had one great year, and then his congenital back problems cropped up. And CJ Yu Darvish, you know, fabulous talent, but I mean the guy was here for 5 years and pitched 2 playoff games and lost them both. I mean, Darvish was not worth $113 million. I'm sorry, he wasn't.
Well, TR, man, it's been great. We should have booked you for the whole show, but I'm glad we got to talk to you. It's great to have you on the show. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. Now that we've had you, you know how much fun we are, so you can do it again, and it won't be a mystery.
Glad to know you know where to find me.
Yeah.
And I may be back. I may be back next year to plug something.
We'll do that too. We'll do that too. We'll do that too. TR, great chatting with you as always, and we appreciate you keeping it a secret and being our mystery guest with
see you
Jeff
soon, buddy.
or Jeff. We'll see you soon. All right, we've got more coming up. It's our cleanup segment on the DLLS Rangers podcast. And Jeff's got the merch, or not the merch, but why don't you do
whatever?
The
I'll just talk about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, again, the Big Brothers Big Sisters fundraisers this week. You can do that. Make a donation. If you don't want to donate your money, you can donate your time and become a big brother or big sister. We should have Anthony Andrew on to talk about that because he was a big brother, big sister back even when I first met him 20 years ago. So anyway, great charity. They're our friends. They're our partners. We're hoping to raise them a bunch of money. And you can also represent DLS by wearing merch, which John will get to, which I'm wearing now, or becoming a diehard member, which, again, if you scan that QR code, that the cat's about to pop up, there she is. And then, or you can go to alldls.com/join. Just do it. You get access to everything I write, everything the Cowboys crew writes, Stars, Mavs, future beats that we're gonna add, and that is in the plans. So we're gonna cover the Metroplex better than anybody. I actually think we already do. So become a diehard today, and you get the 20% off, and you can use that 20% on that Vegas trip with the Cowboys.
Yeah, that Vegas trip that's coming up for the Cowboys. You can also use it on any of the merchandise we have at store.allcitynetwork.com, which is all fantastic and all stuff that we like. Generally, days that we're headed to the ballpark, we don't wear it. That's why I'm not wearing any today, but most other days we do. So anyway, so much to like about everything we're doing here, and we appreciate you. We do these things for you. This whole network, this whole thing was founded to make sports even more fun for the fans, and that's what we're trying to do. And so anyway, become a diehard, and I think you'll really appreciate it. It's a low expense for a high payoff, and that is what you should do and continue to enjoy our work there as well as here. All right, so let's clean this thing up, Jeff. We're just a little bit late, but TR's stories were absolutely worth it.
Totally.
A big night at the ballpark today, as there will be a 1-1 in the house. Actually, will be a couple of 1. Was Bobby Witt
No,
Jr.?
he was a 1-2.
1-2. Okay, so he will be trumped by a 1-1 in the house. Paige Bueckers throwing out the first pitch of tonight's game, Jeff.
You said she was hurt. I don't think it's a shoulder or elbow.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get any worse. I think actually she was just ready to come back. She missed like 4 or 5. Oh, you know what it was? It was concussion protocol.
Oh, okay.
That she was out for. So
All right.
I think she'll be fine with that, and I promise nobody will hit her. Right? There's not going to be a comebacker and hit her in the head and risk that tender noggin up there. But anyway, it's really cool that the 2 basketball teams in the area, the Mavs, the 2 professional teams, the Mavs and the Wings, have a 1-1. And so Paige Bueckers tonight, I imagine maybe sometime later this summer they'll have Cooper Flagg tossing one out there, Jeff.
I would hope so. I would go for that.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. Your pal Nancy Lieberman is going to come out. Myles Garrett was there Sunday for Father's Day, and Abby went down and talked to him about the big deal coming up for Micah Parsons and a little Shedeur Sanders talk. So check out our various channels to see what he had to say, because he just signed a big old contract.
Yeah, and he was ready to leave Cleveland.
Yeah,
and he's a good kid. He grew up across the street from some good friends of mine, and I used to do the Lombardi Award, I think it was, as an MC, and I got to know him and the family a little bit. So I like Myles Garrett a lot.
The deal where he ripped off the helmet, that's not who.
No, that's
Myles
not.
Garrett
No,
is. He went to Arlington Martin.
Yep.
Well, A&M. Don't hold that against him. But anyway, they've had some pretty good first pitcher thrower outers this year.
Yeah, they really have.
TCU beach volleyball coach, national champion coach Hector Gutierrez threw one out Saturday.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so
wow.
They're just bringing in all the big ones.
Fantastic. So Paige Bueckers tonight. Shohei Ohtani pitched last night, more than just the one ceremonial first pitch, but not a hell of a lot more. Jeff, he went 1 inning, but what else could we expect from a guy who's pitching for the first time? And as Abby reminded us, 363 days on a major league mound. But you know what? He touched 100.2, not 102, but 100.2, which only Roki Sasaki has thrown a faster pitch for the Dodgers so far this year, and I think his was like 100.4, and Roki's on the shelf right now himself.
I think it broke Roki.
Yeah, broke his arm or something. Yeah.
So, the other day, Dave Roberts made it sound like he may not be available this year, Sasaki. Ohtani, though, gave up a couple hits in a run. Apparently, the sacrifice fly, there was a missed strike call or something like that, so it could have been a scoreless outing. 28 pitches, which is probably more than the Dodgers wanted him to throw, but he got through it, and probably go 2 the next time. And
sure,
maybe the next time it's as an opener. It seems like that's kind of, I haven't heard anything different, that they're not gonna send him out.
How else? I mean, and how else do you build him up? Yeah,
or wherever the heck their A-ball team is, because you don't want that bat out of the lineup.
Right.
So that is something that I was wondering how they were going to try to accomplish it. If a team off day could coincide with a rehab start, which most off days though are on Mondays.
Right.
And major league or minor league teams don't play on Mondays.
They're off on Mondays. Yeah.
It's going to get tricky. But I would suspect I would have suspected they would send him out at least once, but maybe not.
I saw he's got 79 home runs for the Dodgers in his time with the Dodgers. And that part's not surprising. So he's the Dodgers pitcher that has hit the most home runs in Dodgers history. But this part did surprise me. How many Don Drysdale hit?
He could hit, right?
Yes. 29 bombs. I mean, for a pitcher, exclusively a pitcher back in the day. So
Ohtani, how many home runs does he have as a pitcher for the Dodgers? 0.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right. Let's get that down to 0. Dodgers.
Yeah, it's 0 compared to 29. I'm
sure he'll eclipse.
I was surprised by Don Drysdale on that.
Yeah, but he was a big dude.
He was a big, strong man.
And he was nasty. He'd throw at you, no problem.
Yep. Didn't even think about it. That's that. Ohtani pitches. Quickly, Giancarlo Stanton got it back in there last night for the Yankees. They're in a bit of a streak here. They've lost 4 in a row for the first time this season. But Stanton had a couple of hits, and I'm sure feels good about, getting back in there. And certainly the Yankees have to feel good about getting him back. I mean, this is a true talent in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they scored no runs, losing to the Angels in 11. Yeah, it is. The injury is weird. It was the elbows.
Yeah.
And he was talking, as I recall, about a certain way he was swinging that caused it. And so I wonder if his swing is going to look different. I would suspect it would, but they were thinking he was going to have surgery on both elbows.
Amazing.
Which was weird. So
yeah.
But it's glad he's back. Nobody hits the ball harder than that guy.
No,
nobody hits the ball harder.
No, and he hit a ball farther in Globe Life Park than anybody I ever saw. It was way back at the back of the batter's eye during batting practice, and they had that building back there too. But the back of the batter's eye had a green railing, and he hit it off that railing at the back of the batter's eye. Wow. And we went out there and looked, and you could see a little mark from where the ball hit. It was unbelievable. I don't even know how far that is, but it's a long, long way. So the pride of Batesville, Arkansas, had a big day yesterday, Jeff.
Somebody from the Walton family?
It's a good question you ask. Good night, John Boy. No. Batesville, Arkansas is the home of Gage Wood.
Oh, Gage
of the Arkansas Razorbacks, who threw just the third no-hitter in College World Series history.
I can't believe he hit the batter. I feel like when he hit the guy, I was like,
I
no.
know, and he took a perfect game into the eighth inning, and in the eighth inning he hit a guy, hit his back foot. Yeah. Then in the ninth inning he hit the damn leadoff batter.
They said he leaned in, but
I didn't think he leaned. No, I didn't see a lean there. They actually, they called him out. They did, because they said he. Let's put it this way: he didn't try to get out of the way, but he didn't lean in. So
I gotcha.
I don't know which way you go with. That's a judgment call that they reviewed. So I guess it wasn't really a judgment call. But anyway, pretty cool. The last time it happened was 1960, and then there was one way before then. 3 times is all that's ever happened at the College World Series to throw a no-hitter. Which, again, when you're throwing a no-hitter, and he struck out 19. You throw a no-hitter with those aluminum bats.
Yeah. Kumar Rocker had a game like that. It wasn't in the College World Series. I believe it was to get to the College World Series. So it would have been in the, whatever they call it, the Super Regional. And it was a 19K no-hitter to get them to the Super Regional against Duke in 2019. So he was a freshman.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Gage is expected to be a first-round draft pick, and like I think it was the coach from. And by the way, the team that they eliminated was that Murray State team.
Oh, the Racers.
Yeah, the
race
America's team, as they had become. The race is over for the Racers. They are headed home, and that was cute. One of the kids, they're up there on a dais like this with all of the and kids have their names in front of them, and they're all doing post-game interviews. And one kid keeps smiling, and they said, "Why are you smiling? You guys got lost. You got shut out. You were no hit. 19 strikeout. We're at the College World Series, man. You know, we're Murray State. We get 800 people at a game if we're lucky. So I don't blame him for his excitement, and good for him. So anyway, but really good for Gage, young Gage Wood, who's going to make that coach Schuckler or whatever his name is from Murray State said that young man just made himself a lot of money today.
What do you throw? 119 pitches, which isn't bad.
No, not terrible for a no-hitter like that. Yeah. All right, and finally today, the aforementioned Pete Incaviglia, who TR talked about as one of his favorite players. I couldn't believe I came across this on the social medias today, and you can search for it. I wish we could show it. We can't show the actual video, but that's young Pete Incaviglia. Grew up in the Northern California area, obviously then hailed from Monterey. He threw a strike in that game, Jeff, or in that punt, pass, and kick competition. Yeah. And I think it went 39 yards. But he's 12.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. It's a long.
And he didn't have a great arm. He wasn't like
No, that's not what it
Gold
was.
Glove winner.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
But he was a punt, pass, and kick winner. So that's going to do it, man. The Spirit Week fun continues tomorrow as we play musical chairs, but we sure had fun today with our guest, T.R. Sullivan, and with you. Thanks for joining us as always. We'll see you again tomorrow on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.